comes to life priorities, I define essential as those things that matter most to me. And that's not something that I arrived at easily or quickly. Early in my life, would have defined essential priorities differently. Earning money, having fun, having a bunch of friends, family, health was down the list, faith was down the list. But over time, as I've become clear on what matters most to me, I've been challenged to think longer term and think about, at the end of my journey, I'm looking back on it, what do I want to see? One of the things I wish that I had done as a young person when it comes to clarifying essential priorities is use a telescope more often than a microscope, having a long-term vision. And that's true with anything. Being a financial advisor, it's very clear to me that when it comes to investing, you got to have a long-term perspective, long time horizon. The younger you are, the longer that time horizon. There are things that you can do as a young person that will make your life so much easier as you age. So in my opinion, it's number one, recognizing the fact that certainly you're young, but those years will pass by quickly. At the end of that journey, what do you want to see? And maybe even beyond your lifetime, what legacy do you want to leave? Now, being young, it's hard to sort of think about those types of things, but this is where finding a good mentor can be helpful to you. Someone who's traveled that journey, who's willing to help you process some of these things. I find that those types of relationships can be invaluable. And oftentimes people will think, hey, I can't afford a coach. Well, I will tell you, you cannot afford not to have a coach, because what you'll find is that any amount of money you pay, that will be returned to you many times over. So accountability, in my opinion, is one of the ways that works. One of the ways we can clarify our life priorities and understand, make it easier for us to say no, is by, number one, defining success. What does success really mean for me? And understanding what that is. Oftentimes, again, we don't define success, so we end up doing things that don't really matter to us. Pleasure, prosperity, power, prestige, position, those sorts of things. But I also think that being clear on your mission. What is my mission statement? How do I want to spend the limited amount of time that I have on earth? If leaders don't take the time to do that, then when things get busy, you can be led in all types of directions. Taking people through that structured interview process uncovers a lot of things that have laid dormant in their lives, their minds, and their hearts. And when they get clear on those things and start to live aligned with them, it changes things. So having those goals first are important, having your priorities clear, setting those goals, but then being willing to share those with someone who cares about you and is willing to hold you accountable can be invaluable when it comes to living your life in a way that aligns with your mission, your purpose, and making sure that your priorities are straight.